I've been thinking for a while now about self-respect, the importance of it. And so it was last month that I decided to write down some thoughts. And so I'll be reading to you one of my blog posts. This one is called The Importance of Self-Respect. This post is about the immense value of having self-respect and the potentially immense drawbacks and dangers of not having self-respect. Before I go any further, I want to point out that self-respect is not the same as having a big and therefore easily bruised ego, nor is it the same thing as arrogance. Those things are not healthy. Self-respect is very healthy. And I've come to realize that so many problems we experience are those we bring on ourselves. A big cause of problems we create for ourselves is a lack of self-respect. Often we don't even realize this. I've been looking back on my life recently and have been wondering why I was bullied in school at times, treated poorly in the churches I attended, and was occasionally picked on and harassed in the workplace at various jobs. This didn't happen often, but it did happen. I don't know all the reasons for why this happened, but I have finally figured out one of them. I had not respected myself enough, and it had showed. Why had I not respected myself? Well, I've dealt with depression and some other issues for much of my life, and I think this was revealed by my tone of voice, mannerisms, body posture, and etc. I think some people could spot me as an easy mark. Some people have a predatory nature and almost a sixth sense. It is in their nature to spot weakness in others and cause harm. Our tone of voice matters, our body posture matters, how we dress and conduct ourselves matters. We can appear confident even when we are not, even when we don't feel up to it, even when we are depressed or anxious. This is something I need to remember. There is an old saying, fake it till you make it. And this is important to keep in mind, even if faking it can be difficult. The results of not projecting self-respect can be pretty bad. In fact, in some circumstances, we really need to act like we respect ourselves, because otherwise we are much more likely to be victimized, passed over for raises or promotions. We might be more likely to make poor relationship choices, and also be more likely to be mistreated in general, wherever it is we go and whoever it is we speak with. Now, women, pay special attention to this next part. There have been many studies on rape. Although rape is not entirely preventable, there are things women can do to decrease their chances of being raped. What can women do? One thing they can do is project confidence. One study I read about back in college had to do with women being raped in parking lots or parking garages. The conclusion of the study was that women who walked in a way that was not confident, who looked at the ground, etc., and appeared weak, were much more likely to be raped than those who walked with poise and confidence. Rapists, like other criminals, tend not to want a challenge. They want an easy target. So don't be one. It really does matter how you walk and how you carry yourself. Now, this is important for men to remember too, and for all of us to remember in general. How we carry ourselves, how we speak. It matters. We can either decrease the odds of being treated poorly or increase the odds of being treated poorly, depending on our tone of voice, our mannerisms, and so forth. There were times that, for me, even if I knew what I know now, I would not have been able to change my posture and behavior, perhaps. Maybe I was too depressed at the time. But if I'd known better, maybe I would have being able to do something to make myself less of a target back when I was younger. Forewarned is forearmed. These things I have learned, and these past years, I have worked harder at projecting confidence. And I think this has been important. I cannot change my past, but I can learn from my past. And right now I am learning, and I am working on making changes, and I'm going to be making more changes. I have already been paying attention to my posture and how I walk. I have also spent some effort to dress a little better, regardless of where I'm going to be. Even if I'm just heading to the grocery store or the library, usually I make sure to look a little nicer than I used to. For example, I won't just wear an old t-shirt, sweatpants, and beat-up shoes when I leave the house, unless I'm going walking or doing something else athletic. No, I show more respect for myself and dress better. I wear a pleasant-looking but not overly formal button-down shirt, a good pair of jeans or shorts, socks of appropriate color and length if I'm wearing socks, and no socks with sandals, and shoes that are in good condition. Unless I feel like looking a bit funky, and then I'll wear my Converse Chuck Taylors with my own custom artwork, or maybe an odd shirt. That's okay once in a while. If I'm on a hike or doing something else outdoors, then sweatpants, old t-shirts, and so forth are fine. It's about dressing appropriately. It does matter how we look. It also matters how we sound. I notice that sometimes I speak in somewhat of an anxious voice that is higher pitched than my natural voice. I need to work on that. It is possible to practice and to work on my speaking voice so that I sound better. Getting into shape is important. Being in shape can help us project confidence. For one thing, we look better in our clothes. For another, if we are in shape, we naturally feel more confident. I am not in good shape right now. I need to get myself in better shape. This includes improving my diet, which I've already started working on, and also getting more exercise. Eventually, I want to regularly attend a practical self-defense class. Being in shape equals feeling more confident. A self-defense class will help with that. And also, once I get good at self-defense, I will also feel more confident. Now, taking deep diaphragmatic breaths is also important. What I mean by that is breaths that come more from the belly. We tend to breathe through our chest, and we tend to breathe somewhat rapidly. But while we're in the womb, we breathe more deeply. And breathing more deeply can help us have better brain function and help us be more relaxed. And if we are more relaxed, we are likely to feel more confident and to protect ourselves better. So you breathe from down here and let it out from down here as well. That is diaphragmatic breathing. It takes a lot of practice. I am not yet to the point where I can breathe like this all the time. I often forget. But it is worth working on. I can also do such simple things as shine my shoes, practice my posture while I'm at home. It's something I need to do not only to improve confidence, but to decrease pain in my back and to be more healthy in general. I can also make an effort to wear clothes that fit well, not sit down too long while I'm at the computer or watching TV, but instead get up from my chair once in a while. I can set a timer for this. There's been studies lately that have shown that sitting for a long time without getting up and moving around is very bad, especially for our waistline. It's just unhealthy. So, if you're watching and listening to me now, you might want to stand up for a few moments, stretch, and sit back down. If I weren't doing this video, I would be doing the same thing at the moment. Meditation supposedly can help a lot. Now, I've been meditating almost every day, and for about 2 or 3 months now. And it hasn't seemed to help a whole lot, but I think there's two reasons for this. One reason is I don't spend much time in meditation. And the other is that meditation, it has sort of a cumulative benefit. In other words, I think I might need to be spending not only more time, but also be patient, because it takes time, months and months, for meditation to be helpful. But I think it's worth it. And it doesn't matter what faith you practice. There's a form of meditation called mindfulness, or several forms of meditation, under the umbrella of mindfulness. And you can look it up. You can find many mindfulness apps in your app store that you can put on your phone that will help you meditate. And it's to do with deep breathing. And depending on the app or online resource you're using, there might be some teachings. And you can find some teachings, plenty of teachings, under the heading of mindfulness that are not really specifically Buddhist. These are derived from Buddhism, but without all of the more spiritual and, I would say, strange aspects of Buddhism. So I would recommend meditation practice for helping oneself psychologically, and hopefully helping with anxiety and allowing us to relax more, and therefore show more self-respect and be more confident. I do believe that small improvements can add up to big results. Now, will I be problem-free? No. But I believe I will have less problems. I will be more resilient and better able to handle the problems that come along. And I will be taken more seriously in the future. What about you? Are you experiencing problems in the workplace or in your personal life? Consider how you carry yourself. Consider if you are appearing and acting in a way that shows you have respect for yourself, or are you doing something else? Do you respect yourself, and do you act like you do? Even if you are often down or anxious like I am, you can still make small positive changes, which will make big changes in your life. There is a saying, fake it till you make it. I even heard a TED Talk about this. This talk has been viewed by over 12 million people, and it focuses on body language and confidence. There are other TED Talks and various YouTube videos that can be helpful. Do what you have to no longer be a victim. Not only a victim of others, but a victim of yourself. And by the way, if you want to look up the TED Talk, it is by a woman named Amy Cuddy. So if you just type in the word TED Talk, and her last name is spelled Cuddy, and you should be able to find it. Now, as we respect ourselves more and act like we respect ourselves more, I think that we will make better choices and have better lives. Now, is this easy? Unfortunately not. Improvement and gaining self-respect requires a lot of patience, which is the most difficult part, I think, being patient. Another difficult part is being focused. So many of us, our minds wander badly. And I think this is something that meditation can help with. We need to practice self-awareness, kindness to ourselves, and have determination. We also need to keep in mind that this requires small incremental steps, which are doable if you have the patience and do not get discouraged. You can do this, taking these small steps. Remember that film, What About Bob? It's all about baby steps. TED Talks and other videos can be helpful, and so can podcasts. If you find TED Talks and other useful podcasts, you can find them if you look for them. These don't cost anything. Check iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. For guys, there is one called Art of Manliness. It is a good podcast choice, although it does cover a huge range of topics not just building confidence. But I think it is worth listening to. You can scroll down once you're on wherever it is you get your podcasts and look for topics of interest. There are also 2 books I'm interested in reading that I think will be very good. One is called The Art of Worldly Wisdom, and it's quite old. It was written by a man named Balthazar Gracian. That's Baltasar, his first name. Gracian is the second name. And the book was published back in 1702. The other was written much more recently, and it's called The 48 Laws of Power. It is especially helpful for those in the workplace. But the lessons found in that book can be used in other circumstances as well. The 48 Laws of Power was written by Robert Greene, and it was published, I think, within the last 10 years. I don't know how much these books will help because I've only read a little bit of each so far, but I am optimistic. I think it is important to mention, though, that you should not try so hard, extremely hard, in fact, to find just the right self-help books. There are so many out there. So don't spend a ton of time looking for the absolute perfect book. And also, I would suggest browsing through your local library, or browsing through your library has on your library's website. I found this to be very helpful. If you want to buy books, buy only those you like the best and find the most useful, and shop around, both online and in bookstores. Using money wisely is something to feel good about. This also is good for self-respect. In summation, creating self-respect, maintaining self-respect, and acting like we have self-respect, this is incredibly important. Please keep this in mind.